Okay, so we have some stars going, some bright stars and less bright stars. We got kind of a cool space scene going on. Let's add our nebula. So we need a new layer. New layer right down here on the bottom of the layers panel. Click on new layer, create new layer. And we're going to add another one of those what the fuck files or filters. Like, who would use this? So we're going to come under filter. And we're going to come under render and clouds and click on that. And it creates this, I don't even know, they're clouds, but I've never seen clouds. Well, maybe LA when the smog's bad, but those don't even look like clouds. So I've never figured out what a good purpose for this is, but you're about to see. We want to make this layer, and we can call it clouds instead of layer 1. Might as well call it clouds. And we're going to change the blending mode from normal to color dodge. It's going to disappear momentarily. We're going to click on the layer below and then do a new layer. And we're going to call this Nebula Clouds. Boom. Okay. Now we want to take our brush tool over here. B for brush, brush tool. And we're going to go under our brush settings. We want to make sure the only thing we have checked, let's reset. Let's go here to our brush options panel and clear brush controls, and then make sure smoothing is the only thing check marked, and then the double arrows to close that panel. Then I'm going to hit the down arrow right here for my brush, and what I have is a 600 pixel brush, 0 hardness. All right, so we want 0 hardness, and you can technically do a different size brush. I just found this one worked well. 600 pixels, 0 hardness, and an opacity of 10%. Okay? Next, I'm going to double click on my foreground color. I don't want black because our space is already black. So I'm going to double click, and from here you can choose any kind of nebula colors that you want. I'm going to go with kind of a bluish, purplish, pink look, but you can do green and yellow. You can do whatever. You can experiment. Once you see how I do it, pick what you want. I'm going to come under and get kind of a dark kind of blue like that. I'm going to click OK. And I'm just going to simply click and paint over. And I might even like my brush bigger. So I'm going to right click and even make my brush bigger. And then I'm just going to click in some spots. I don't want it to be too uniform. I want something kind of like that. I'm going to double click on my foreground color, and I'm going to add a different kind of nebula color. I'm going to go with this lighter kind of purplish look. And then you can see I'm just going to go over in some spots and get kind of crazy. Come in there a little bit, boom, and make something unique. And you can even do another color if you like. I can come in and maybe make like a light turquoise in there, and then just brighten up a couple things. Boom. Getting them, we got a cool kind of nebula looking thing. It's a season to taste. Your colors, your kind of funky brushes, random type stuff on there. To make this a little more subtle, I'm going to come up to my clouds layer. And if you take your opacity down, you notice it's going to make it a little less bright, and it's just going to smooth out and make it look a little more natural in my opinion. Now, what is this number for opacity? Eyeball it till it looks cool to you. I'm going with a 40% opacity. I kind of like that look. I might do something here where these stars, I don't like the bright stars around the edges, so I'm going to come down to my bright stars right here. I'm going to add a layer mask. I'm going to make sure that my foreground color is black. Okay. I'm going to bring the opacity of my brush back up to 100. And I'm just going to paint away the edges. I don't like those bright stars on the edges like that. And I still think we got a little too much bright, so I might bring this opacity of my brush down again to like a 10%. And I'm just going to paint black over this a little bit just to bring down my bright stars a little bit. You can see it's kind of a light gray. It's kind of like doing an opacity to them a little bit. Anyhow, we can turn them on and off, and you can see we have our bright stars on there. And I might even come over a couple areas, bring my opacity up some. Let's see. Somewhere around there, and I might just go over these areas a little bit because they just kind of stick out. I might even come up to 100, and I'm just going to kind of click in a couple spots and get rid of them kind of random like that. All right. Again, reason why I did it, I just thought they were overpowering a little bit, and now you can see it's just kind of softer like that. If I turn this off, I can shift click, and you can see before I did the layer mask to kind of take them away, it just overtook the image. And then if I shift click back on my layer mask, you can see how now it's more subtle. So there we go. We have stars and a nebula. So we're doing pretty good. You know what we haven't done? Whoa. Don't know what I was thinking. But if you notice, look at my document. Like a dummy, I haven't saved it. It's still called Untitled 1. Bad habit, right? You want to save early and often in case bad things happen. Anyhow, let's go ahead and save it before we get out of here. File, save as. And you should create a folder in your Google Drive called Spacescape. Okay? I have mine saved under tutorials, but you should, inside your Google Drive folder under projects for this class, make a new folder called Spacescape, and then name this Nebula, and save it inside your Spacescape folder. All right, so that's going to give us our background. In the upcoming tutorials, we're going to learn how to make a variety of planets without pictures using only filters and other tools within Photoshop. It's kind of cool.